What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. It looks like Marvel Studios and Sony have worked out the majority of the new deal for Spider-Man, and it does look like Spider-Man is going to be the future of the MCU. This was relatively expected in a time right now in the MCU where they don't really have a dominant main primary leader. The past Avengers teams had Captain America and Iron Man, but since the beginning of the Multiverse Saga, there wasn't really a clear leader, and we really didn't have an Avengers team. We still don't, but it is about to be formed. And the two people that I think really everybody would say are kind of the dominant figures right now in the MCU are indeed Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. You can make some cases for some other heroes, but it looks like Marvel Studios is focusing on Spider-Man as a new deal has seemingly been made. We also have a new report about what Marvel Studios plans to do with Tom Holland inside of the new projects that they have made a new deal for. Now, to start off, if you really enjoy Spider-Man in the MCU, we have good news because he is going to appear in more projects than he previously was supposed to. We had heard that Marvel made a new deal with Sony a while ago. We're talking years ago for Tom Holland to remain in the MCU, but we never really did get the full details of that contract. Well, the insider My Time to Shine Hello recently posted this to X. Interesting. Here's what I heard about Holland lately. There's a new Marvel Sony deal that will have Tom Holland reprising his role as Spider-Man / Peter Parker in 3 more solo films. So that would be Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6, and 3 additional MCU films, including Secret Wars and 2 others. She also stated the previous deal only covered No Way Home and Avengers Doomsday, and part of the deal was for him to have a huge role to play in the Avengers films. So the 3 additional films that are not Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6 do not include Doomsday. He was already signed up for Doomsday, according to this report. So Avengers Secret Wars is 1, and then 2 additional secret projects that we don't know yet. The good news is it really sounds like Spider-Man is going to survive the soft reboot of the MCU that is going to take place after Avengers Secret Wars, because we already know that there's no way they can do Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6 before Avengers Doomsday, in between Doomsday and Secret Wars, and really you just can't do it all before Secret Wars. There's no time, there's no space. Yes, Marvel Studios right now is trying to figure out what their Phase 6 is officially and finally going to be like, but there's not enough room for all of these Spider-Man projects. So the good news, Tom Holland's Spider-Man survives the reboot. And we've talked about this in a few videos on the channel, but what most likely is going to take place is we get Spider-Man 4, we get Avengers Doomsday, and Avengers Secret Wars. And these films, obviously Spider-Man 4, will focus on Spider-Man, but Doomsday and Secret Wars, reportedly, is going to really focus on Spider-Man as well, with him being one of the leaders and the lead of the movies. And there is a difference. Spider-Man is going to be one of the leaders, meaning he will be a leader of the teams that we see, the Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men. Whether it's a mix of all of these groups together or he's just a part of the Avengers, he's going to be one of the leaders of the group. But he's also going to be the lead in these movies, meaning he's going to be focused on heavily. And apparently that is how it was supposed to be before, with My Time to Shine Hello stating part of the deal before was for him to have a huge role to play in the Avengers films. But a few days ago, insider Daniel RPK reported that Marvel is going to begin production on both Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man 4 in early of 2025. And Tom Holland will be bouncing between both projects, meaning he's going to be working on both of them, filming both of them at the same time. And I've seen a lot of people already making some pretty funny comments on the internet, with quite a few comments stating that Tom Holland is about to spoil all of this with Mark Ruffalo as well, because the two of them are known for spoiling some major things in the MCU in the past. Unfortunately, Tom Holland has gotten a lot better at keeping his mouth shut, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did some type of a bit announcing the films, making it seem like he spoiled something on accident when really it was on purpose. But since we are getting towards the end of the year now, which means we're getting close to the beginning of next year, which means we should be getting an announcement about Spider-Man 4 relatively soon. Specifically, fans really want to know what that title is going to be. But in recent interviews for Deadpool and Wolverine, Kevin Feige confirmed that the script for Spider-Man 4 was almost done. They're about to hand it into him and he's going to read over it. That was a few months ago, so in theory it could be finished. However, the plan for whatever Spider-Man 4 was originally going to be might have changed. But that might not be bad, and there is some really good news from another report from Daniel RPK where he states Spider-Man will have a significantly larger role in Doomsday than he did in Infinity War and Endgame. Now in Endgame, he wasn't around for the majority of the movie because he got snapped in Infinity War. But even then, he still played a pretty significant role with his story with Iron Man / Tony Stark. Even when he was snapped, we saw Tony reminisce a lot about him. You could even say the old photos of him and Tony actually inspired Tony to go and help the Avengers figure out time travel once and for all. But we would hope his role in Doomsday would be a lot bigger than it was in Avengers Endgame, but in Infinity War, he did have a decent amount of screen time. However, there were so many different aspects of that film, and so many different characters that the spotlight was on a lot of different people at many different points in time. However, Doomsday, although it's been rumored to have a ton of characters in it, we're assuming for the good majority of the movie will primarily focus on our new Avengers team, in which Spider-Man should be one of the leaders and should be the lead of the movie. So with all of this news, it's very clear that Sony and Marvel Studios are at least agreeing on the significance that Spider-Man is going to play in the MCU. The only question is right now, what is Spider-Man 4 going to look like? We know that Sony has wanted Spider-Man 4 to be a big multiversal film, and we know that Marvel Studios has wanted essentially the opposite. They want a street-level film, a grounded film, where Kingpin is the villain, and he sends some other street-level villains after Spider-Man. Daredevil was supposed to appear. There had been rumors of Ant-Man possibly appearing as well. Kingpin was supposed to make being a vigilante illegal, which we're going to see in Daredevil Born Again, and that was kind of going to be the story. But then we heard Sony wanted it to be a lot bigger. They wanted Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man to return. Then we heard that the two of them came to an agreement, but it was indeed going to be a relatively big multiversal film because this film is supposed to take place after Avengers Doomsday, and if the Avengers lose to Doom at the end of that movie and the multiverse is either completely destroyed or starts to be destroyed, then, well, it just makes sense for Spider-Man 4 to be a multiverse film. Plus, recently we've heard from a couple of different insiders that Venom and Null, the symbiote creator and god, who is going to be the main villain of Venom 3, both of those characters are going to be making their way over to the MCU and appear in Spider-Man 4. That definitely would not be the grounded street-level film that Marvel Studios was hoping to do, but if Sony gets this and Marvel Studios gets to do basically whatever they want to do with Spider-Man after that, it is a relatively good trade, especially since they want him to be a really prominent lead figure in the MCU moving forward, not just in the Multiverse Saga, but after the soft reboot as well. So if all of these reports are true from these insiders, Tom Holland's Spider-Man should play a very prominent role in what we believe is next, the Mutant Saga. So hopefully we'll see Spider-Man with the new X-Men, him interacting more with the Fantastic Four, and of course it's been said that Miles Morales is going to come into play, and when Tom Holland is finally done playing Spider-Man in the MCU, Miles Morales is probably going to be the new Spider-Man that takes his place. But the great news is we have a lot more of Tom Holland's Spider-Man left. And it's not just that he's going to stick around and kind of appear in these other films, he's going to be one of the main characters of these films. So that's great news for Spider-Man fans, but go ahead, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Do you like this new deal? Do you not? Let us know. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.